Welcome you all to this new lecture on the chapter gears, and gears are nothing but a special type of the mechanical drives used extensively these days. It has most important and special applications in various fields also. So let us see why it is called a mechanical drive. But before that, I want to say you that gears are not only called the mechanical drives, but along with that the belt drive and the chain drive, rope drives, etc. are known as the mechanical drives. So basically a mechanical drive is a mechanism used for the power transmission. So its definition is that it is a mechanism in order to transmit the power over a certain distance involving a change in the speed and the torque. So whenever we need the power transmission, we need that mechanical drives because it helps in power transmission in an effective manner by changing its speed and the torque. So there are some specific reasons for which mechanical drives are used. So let us see here. First one is the torque and the speed of the machines are always different than that of the electric motor or engine, and machines usually run at the low speed and requires high torque. For example, in overhead traveling crane, motor speed is 1400 rpm and speed of the rope drum is 20 rpm. So there is a huge difference in between their speeds. Therefore, the mechanical drives are used. Next reason is that in sorting machines, variable speeds are required for the operations, whereas the prime movers run at the constant speed. This you have all seen in workshops while doing the turning operation in the lathe. For example, in the lathe while doing the turning operation on different workpieces, you have noticed that motor of the lathe always runs at the constant speed, but the spindles of the chalk which is required to turn the workpieces of different material with different feed and depth of cut, they run at different speeds. So motor speed is different from the speeds of the spindle. Okay, so there is a difference in between their speeds, therefore the mechanical drives are used. And next next reason is that standard electric motors are designed for uniform rotary motion so that the motors can provide the uniform rotary motion to this engine. However, in some machines like the Sapper or Planer, linear motions with varying velocities are also required. Okay, so these are the reasons for which the mechanical drives are used. Then we see classification of the mechanical drives. According to the principle of operations, these mechanical drives are divided into two groups. We can divide it into two groups. First one is mechanical drives that transmit power by means of friction. For example, belt drive and rope drive. There is a contact between the pulley and the belt or rope. So therefore, friction comes into existence. So whenever these drives transmit power, it will transmit power by the help of friction. And the next category or next group is that mechanical drives that transmit power by means of engagement. For example, chain drives and gear drives. We will see how it will transmit the power by the engagement process. So next is our topic of discussion, that is gear drives. So gears are defined as the toothed wheels which transmit the power and motion from one shaft to another shaft by means of successive engagement of teeth. And gear drives offers the following advantages. That's why it is used over the chain and the belt drives. There are certain advantages of the gear drives when we compare with the chain and the belt drives. These advantages are here. We will see now. The first is that it is a positive drive. There is no effect of slipping. That's why it is called a positive drive. So it is a positive drive and velocity ratio is constant. We will discuss this one later. And number two is that center distance between the shafts is relatively small, which results in a compact construction. So minimum space is required for the installation of the gear drives or gears. Number 3 is that it can transmit large power. Okay, large power can be transmitted. Fourth one is that it can also transmit motion with a very low velocity, which is not possible with the belt drives. Okay, so it can transmit large power also. It can transmit motion with very low velocity, which is not possible with belt drives. Therefore, gear drives are used over the belt drives. And efficiency of the gear drives is very high, even up to 99% in case of spur gears. It is a type of gear we will discuss later. And number 6 is that provision can be made in the gearbox for the gear shifting, thus changing the velocity ratio over a wide range. So in a gearbox, there is a provision of gear shifting so that we can change the velocity ratio over a wide range. So these are some of the specific reasons why we use the gear drives compared with that belt and belt drive and the chain drives. So some of these are the advantages of this gear drive. So you will see a small video on this animated video on this gearbox, how the gears are arranged in this gearbox. So let us see here. This is the arrangement of the gears in a gearbox, and the power transmission occurs in this manner. So these are the gears. It is having some teeth. So these are the gears arrangement. The gear arrangement in this gearbox. You can see here how the gears are arranged and how the power is transmitted. This is the teeth of the gear. You can see how it is rotating. When it is rotating, it is also transmitting motion to its side gear. From one gear to another gear to next gear, the power will be transmitted like this. So in this way, the gears are arranged in a gearbox. It has an important and essential aspect of gears is that it transmits the rotational motion to different axes also. So it has very much a wide application. It has very much wide applications, like it is used in non-digital clocks, bicycles, vehicles that may be cars or trucks, powered wheelchairs, lifts. And powered wheelchairs are very much essential for the handicapped people that they do not have physical fitness, and it is very much essential device for them. So gears is very much important because of its uses only. Okay, so let us discuss in detail gears. So gears are used to transmit motion from one shaft to another shaft, or between a shaft and a slide, and this is accompanied by successfully engaging the teeth. Okay, so the major component or the feature is it is having teeth across its circumference. Okay, so it transmits the motion from one shaft to another shaft or between a shaft and a slide, but it is accompanied or messing with the teeth. And gears uses no intermediate link and transmit motion by the direct contact. They do not use any intermediate links and transmit motion by the direct contact. And the surface of the bodies make a tangential contact with each other. Let us see here. This is gear number 1. This is also called as friction wheels. Okay, because it is not having any teeth. So let us consider that this is a disc 1 and this is a disc 2. So if the power is transmitted between the two shafts is very small, then the motion between them is obtained by using two plane cylinders or disc. Suppose we want that the power transmitted between two shafts is very small, our power transmission needed to be very small. So So we consider two plain circular cylinders or discs as shown in the figure, and these are rotating in opposite direction, as you are able to see here. This is disc 1 and this is disc 2, and they are revolving in this direction. This is in this direction clockwise, and this is anti-clockwise direction. This is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. If there is no slip of one surface relative to the other, then a definite motion of one can be transmitted to 2. If there is no slipping, if there is a slipping, then the motion cannot be transmitted. But if there is no slip at all, then the power transmitted or motion can be transmitted from 1 to 2 and vice versa. Such wheels are known as friction wheels. Okay, these types of wheels are known as friction wheels. So we have seen that the friction wheels help in power transmission, but they only transmit small amount of power. But however, the power transmitted increases in the friction wheel, then slip will occur. Okay, the slip will occur, and motion is no longer remains definite. So, assuming that there is no slipping between two surfaces, let us assume a relation between the two friction wheels in terms of linear velocity. If their linear velocity will be equal for the disk 1 and disk 2, then we see that omega 1 r1 is equal to omega 2 r2, because linear velocity of disk 1 is equal to omega 1 into r1, that is equal to omega 2 into r2, and omega 1 is nothing but 2 pi n1 by 60, or 60 and 60 will be cancelled out. So the expression will be 2 pi n1 into r1, that is equal to 2 pi n2 into r2. So you will see that there is a relation between the n, omega and r. So we can write that omega 1 by omega 2 is equal to n1 divided by n2 is equal to r2 by r1. So we have concluded that the angular velocity or speed of revolution is inversely proportional to the radius of the disk. So let us see here. N is representing here the speed of revolution in RPM. Its unit is revolution per minute. Omega is the angular velocity in radian per second, and r is the radius of the disk. The subscript 1 and 2 is representing the disk 1 and 2. So we have taken the conclusion here that speed of the two disks rolling together without slipping is inversely proportional to the radius of the disk. Okay, so speed is inversely proportional to the radius of the disk. So this is an important relation for the examination point of view, and it is a mostly asked question in your exam. So note it down, so that n2 by n1 by n2 is equal to r2 by r1. So in order to transmit a definite motion of one disk to another, or to prevent the slip between the surfaces, projections are made. So we have concluded from to this much that the speed is inversely proportional to the radius of the disk. And another thing is that because the power transmitted increases, there is a chance of the slipping. That slip may occur. Okay, and definitely occur, because we need that our power transmitted should be more, or power transmission should be more for more efficiency or more output. Okay, so to achieve or to transmit that definite motion from one disk to another, and to prevent the slip, the cause is we want to prevent the slip between two surfaces. So we have to make some projections or recesses on the two disks, so that they can mess with each other and there will be no slipping. So in order to avoid the slipping And to transmit a definite motion, we should make projections should be made on the two discs so that it can mesh with each other. And when they mesh with each other, there will be no slipping at all. So after projections made, that leads to the formation of teeth on the disc. So that projections are nothing but called the teeth on the discs. So motion between the two surfaces changes from rolling to the sliding motion. When there are only plain discs, previously they are only rolling with respect to each other, but here when the projections are made and teeth are made, then the surface changes, motion of the surface changes from rolling to the sliding, and the discs with this teeth is nothing but called gears or gear wheels. So it is very important that what is the difference between a gear and a plain disc. A plain disc is not having any projections or teeth, and gear is having the teeth. Okay, so the disc with teeth or projections are known as gear wheels. So this is only the basic difference between them. So why the wheels or teeth have been the wheels are having teeth? Because in order to avoid the slip in between two surfaces and to allow more power transmission between them. It should be noted that if disc 1 rotate in clockwise direction, disc 2 will rotate in the counterclockwise direction. Okay, so they will move in opposite direction when they are meshed with each other. Large velocity ratio of the driving and the driven members have been obtained by use of the gears. So we can obtain also large velocity ratio, and to obtain large reduction of the velocity ratio, two or more pairs of the gears can be used, and we will learn this term velocity ratio in detail in gear terminology in the next videos. Okay, so gears have two important functions now. They are saying that large velocity ratio it can maintain by the use of gears, or to obtain large reductions in velocity, two or more pair of gears can be used. So let us see the classification of the gears. Gears are classified into three broad categories, that parallel shaft gear, intersecting shaft gear, non-parallel and non-intersecting shaft gear. Again, the parallel shaft gears is spur gear and helical gear. And helical gear is single, two types again, single and double helical gears. And the double helical gears are nothing but known as herringbone gears. Intersecting gears are of four types: bevel gears, mitre gears, spiral bevel gears, zero bevel gears. Okay. Now the non-parallel and non-intersecting gears are as follows. It is mainly three types: spiral gear, worm and worm wheel, hypoid gear. Okay, these three are the most important non-parallel and non-intersecting gears. So this is all about the gear classification. In the next video, we are going to study about the detailed gears analysis for helical bevel gear, which are in your syllabus. Okay, so that's all for the day. Thank you.